You're listening to the Belmar Bites podcast, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. Okay, welcome back, Matt. Here we are, episode number 6.
Episode 6.
Yeah, number 6. We're releasing this on July 24th, and we're unpacking a topic we haven't talked about yet on the pod. One that I would say is near and dear to my heart, and one that I've spent a lot of time focused on over the years in the work that we do at Belmar, and that is digital transformation in public sector. So for those of you that are in the public sector world, and even those of you that aren't, I'm hoping that some of the ideas that we talk about today are of value, and you can walk away with something that you can apply. So
Maybe we just start for the listeners, Scott. What is public sector? We'll just start with some definitions, and then we can unpack that. We'll start from the beginning.
All right. Well, yeah. So what is public sector? That's a great question. So, I mean, I guess I would define public sector as our government, these entities that are publicly funded, and I guess there's many different layers to this, but maybe in the context of like, what is a public sector customer for us? That would be a government entity, be it federal, state, local, provincial in Canada, city, municipality. There's these different layers of government, but any organization that is collecting taxes and fees from the citizens and providing some form of a service in exchange.
Yeah, awesome. So now we got that definition. What is we talked about this on previous pods, but we expand on what's Belmar's experience in working in the public sector, and how does that differ than working in the nonprofit sector, or what are the similarities, perhaps?
I guess what are the differences? Public organizations historically are known to be slow, inefficient, in some cases, transformative, but in most cases, just like old technology and overall kind of poor experience compared to that of what you get from Amazon or your favorite retailer. So their incentive is not to be cutting edge and compete against a competitor. Their incentive a lot of times is don't screw up and don't get on the front page of a newspaper for a mistake that was made. So it's an interesting environment to work in. It's one that is made up of incredibly great, like awesome people, smart people, but they're working in an organizational structure that's typically very risk adverse and is very slow moving. And so just think of the last time you had to get your driver's license renewed. That was probably a more painful process than you thought it should be, given your ability to order anything off of your phone and have it show up at your front door, at most a couple of days later, and oftentimes within a few hours, it's at your door. So that's just unfortunately the way it is in government, and it's likely never going to change. So it's just something you've got to work with. You'd ask, what's the difference between public sector and nonprofit? Nonprofit, on the other hand, most of these organizations are independent. They're arm's length from government. If they're in fact getting their funding from government, many nonprofits get no funding from government. They're all private donors and corporations that are donating. So that kind of cohort of organization, is often way more interested in transformation, way more interested in competing against their quote unquote competitors for sort of their share of the pie that's available to them in terms of funding. And so they will make investments, they will make bets that will move them closer towards their goal. And oftentimes that's delivering a better service, delivering a better experience to their customers or their clients or their constituents. So, the incentives are different. The structures are very different. But what is interesting is the commonality across the two cohorts with respect to their use case. Like what does it look like to receive a service, or what does it look like um, to engage? There is a lot of commonality across those two. So uh, with at least with a Salesforce technology like nonprofit cloud, or formerly NPSP, it actually worked within both organizations to deliver on what they were trying to
Yeah.
accomplish. So
Yeah. And maybe I'll just build on and kind of up level some of the commonalities because we've been serving both nonprofit and public sector clients for quite some time. But I would say another big similarity is just the necessity to have high degrees of governance when it comes to data. I mean, donor data, very sensitive. And the last thing you want as a nonprofit organization is to have a data breach or to have a poor experience for your donors who are giving you money on a recurring basis, or to have bad data. And on the other side of the coin, in the public sector lens, this is citizen data. This is private PII data that is uh, catastrophic if it's leaked. So there's a commonality in that they need high degrees of security. And in many cases, nonprofits are working with organizations or individuals who this is sensitive data. These are either people that are victims that we just need to protect that data as well. So there's a lot of similarities, and I think oftentimes people don't connect the dots in terms of these two, but certainly on the Salesforce side, there's a lot of commonalities technology-wise. So now that we've got the kind of baseline background, what is public sector, given that you work so heavily in this space, Scott, what kind of, and maybe we'll flip down to U.S. public sector for the time being, the impact of DOGE on the U.S. public sector and the federal space. What kind of trends are you seeing, and what's happening in that side of things?
sure, yeah, it's been interesting since January when Trump term two started, and Elon and the team went to work on identifying, as they call it, fraud, waste, and abuse. And it was, I mean, I was expecting it was going to be rough for those organizations that DOGE was looking into. But it's been very interesting in working very closely with Salesforce and their sales team, and just the the real change that has taken place in terms of procurement, and just what was previously slow has become slower. And there were, I mean, we've seen it on the news. I mean, there's organizations that it previously existed now no longer exist as a result of the work of DOGE. And so, not to get into that side of the conversation, more into the sort of what impact is this
Yeah,
having, and what are we seeing as a result of it. So there, government needs to continue to deliver service to the constituents, or its constituents. And so that need continues, but now how they go about doing it is quite different. So, um, I guess maybe to categorize this a little bit, there were opportunities that we were working on with clients that just did completely disappeared, and that was very true for Salesforce as well. What we've seen, that's kind of morphed into the kind of the craziness is over now. Things are settling. Now it's okay. Well, we've got to do more with less. We don't have as much as we used to. We're never going to get what a year ago we would have got approved today. So we need to find a way to do more with less. And so we're in that zone or that season right now. And so it's where we can bring an equal or better solution than what already exists at a price that is lower, there is a lot of interest. And so, it's we historically have not really been an organization that competes on price. It's more value that we bring.
Hmm.
But it's now very much a uh, here's what we've got. Uh, Look at how this is more competitive price wise than what you're currently paying for, likely an inferior uh, product. So, by highlighting that, that's certainly it's getting attention that where previously that that wouldn't have been as important of a factor in their decision process. So it's interesting, and I think where it goes next is we're in this settling phase where the chaos is, at least I think it's behind us. We're in this settling phase. I think we then move probably after the end of the calendar year, maybe as we step into next year. There's going to be projects that have been delayed, things that have just been put on ice that like they just now need to be done. So they will have to execute on these, and this rebound of, okay, well, we're not as concerned about price. Now we're concerned about, can you actually deliver and get this done for me?
Hmm.
So I think we get back there, but I think it may be a long time before we get back to sort of the way it was, uh, and that's the new reality within the U.S. federal government. Elsewhere, I mean, we don't work as much outside of the federal government, so I'm not. I guess I'm not seeing it because I don't live that day to day. But I think there is a broader kind of correction within government that's happened as a result of DOGE. I think people are even if DOGE isn't in that level of government, I think there's an awareness that we need to be more efficient. We need to do more with less. So, we'll see where this goes, but it certainly has been an interesting last number of months.
I know you didn't unpack perhaps some of those earlier elements, but I think this theme of doing more with less, I think there's a lot of lessons that can be learned from that as well. And I kind of contrast that to some of our other clients in the nonprofit space, and that this doing more with less. I mean, the whole uh, the business case or the use case for something, when you're able to broadcast that a powerful tool like Salesforce can solve not just the needs of one department, but also another department. Well, I mean, you've two birds, one stone. That you can kind of reconcile that across multiple budgets, and I think that's what we're going to start to see is that you've got a all-in-one solution versus 10 different point solutions. You got one robust platform that can solve the needs across variety, thus solidifying the business case for why do we need technology in this space. So if anything, I mean, I love the do more with less kind of mantra. I think it really it sharpens the tools, if you will, on, okay, this is why we need something. And if I think there's something to be said about, you should probably have a justification if you're signing up for a a large technology contract. You should be able to speak to that, and I think Salesforce has done a wonderful job at being able to solve the variety of needs. And one of those needs that you've seen a lot of is marketing automation. Do you want to speak about marketing automation, and what do you see marketing automation, or where do you see marketing automation being used um, in the federal space or in the public
Yeah,
sector?
sure. Yeah, and I think just to pick up, Matt, on the ideas I was sharing earlier, there's when there is disruption of any type. So this, be this in government, be this in the private sector, wherever there's this disruption, there's this whole host of new opportunities that present themselves. So, you used to sell a certain way, you used to sell a product to a certain cohort of customers because that's what they needed at the time. And when that gets all shaken up, uh, there are new customers, as an example, that come to the forefront. That maybe previously they our product, our service was not a fit for them because they didn't have that need, but now they do as a result of the disruption. And so it's actually really exciting because while it's not business as usual, we are getting introduced into some really exciting opportunities within the U.S. Federal agencies. And these are organizations that for many years have bought Salesforce technology. They bought for case management. They've bought in some cases email communication and everything in between. But where we're starting to see some opening up is within the communications teams within these U.S. Federal agencies. So kind of unpack that a little bit. If an agency is delivering on a particular mandate, part of sort of their responsibilities to communicate to the constituents what they're doing. Uh, and so sort of think of it more on the policy side rather than on the political side. If the policy is we're going to go and build more roads. I'm just making up an example here. We're going to go build more roads. Well, there's a communication strategy that comes with that. You're informing the public about what you
Yeah.
are going to be doing. You're informing the public sort of along that path as you in this case, go out and build more roads. And then at the completion of that, there's some communication to wrap that up. And this is and again, if you think about the U.S. Federal agencies, these are not, don't think of these in terms of political parties that are communicating a political message. These are agencies that are delivering a message to the constituents regarding the work that they are doing. So how do they do that? How do they communicate? Well, in the past, like pre-DOGE, uh, there were communication departments in many cases for each of the call it business units within that agency. And what's happened as a result of DOGE is they've consolidated in some cases to like a single team that is now responsible for communication for that agency. So they need tools that are capable of sending large send volumes, that are very capable of kind of segmenting across business units. In the past, that some of the tools that were being used were very, think of it kind of as a point solution. They were very specific to a particular use case and, a smaller audience. And, now they're sort of the aperture is opened really wide. They have a very large audience. They need the ability to segment and to communicate with a much broader audience. So a tool like Salesforce Marketing Cloud fits incredibly well there, and so we've begun to see some really interesting opportunities within the agencies that are trying to address this problem that I just identified. So it's been exciting because that's something we're passionate about. It's a service that we've offered for many years, and we do great work there. And so to have the opportunity to get engaged with these organizations and really help them navigate through these challenges that they're facing uh, has been fun because it's not really optional for them to say, you know what, we're not going to
Yeah.
communicate. Like they have to communicate. So they need tools and capabilities to be able to go and do that.
Yeah. So I guess using a specific example about Marketing Cloud in the federal space, I mean, what kind of things do you think Marketing Cloud have a leg up on kind of legacy or prior communication technology that's being used in this space? Because that will translate to citizen impact. Like, what will they be informed more? Will they? What kind of differences do you see with Salesforce's solution versus what's already been in there for many years?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, we've seen this over the years. Salesforce identify a particular target, and when they start, they have like little to no footprint in that target,
Hmm.
and then time goes by, and they win, and then they win more, and then they just become the dominant player in that particular category. We certainly have seen that in the nonprofit sector. Blackbaud for
Yeah,
forever was the solution.
totally.
Uh, the number of customers that we've moved from Blackbaud to Salesforce, can't count the number because it's, we've done so many, and we continue to get requests constantly. And so, that example of Salesforce going into a market and then just, over time dominating, we've seen over and over again. Certainly, we're seeing that now within, the federal government and their communication team. So, the historical tool is known as Granicus Gov Delivery. It's everywhere in government. It's pervasive. It's all over the place. And so there's certainly some challenges that customers have faced with that tool, and so really, we are identifying how a Salesforce-based solution is going to not only address but improve the challenges that organization is facing. So we've been successful within certain agencies at this point, and that scope is growing and opening because of just the amount of implementation that exists of Gov Delivery within the federal government. So it's an exciting time. We've got lots of work ahead, but the next year it could be very disruptive in terms of what we're doing. So
Mhm.
more to come on that, but it's an exciting time to be attached to the Salesforce marketing engine and
Yeah.
delivering a marketing cloud-based solution.
It's like a rocket ship.
Yeah,
You're just gonna
very much.
strap onto the rocket ship because we've seen, time and time again, Salesforce are experts at kind of identifying a pain point and really just solving that, as well. So awesome. Well, hey, Scott, I know, this is our kind of public sector episode. Why don't you end us off with, some exciting announcements? I see FedRAMP on our list here, so do you wanna
Yeah,
share about that?
yeah, you bet. So within the U.S. Federal government, they've got a standard, if you will, of what software applications need to meet, and that's known as FedRAMP. And so to have a FedRAMP approved or authorized solution is an important, I guess, validation that your technology has gone through the appropriate testing and validation,
Mhm.
so Salesforce in the last number of weeks announced that they have expanded their FedRAMP set of products. I'm struggling for how best to say that, but the products that they now have as FedRAMP solutions uh, include Agentforce, Data Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Tableau, which is exciting because these when you're in a discussion with a prospective customer, one of the things that comes up pretty quick is this a FedRAMP solution? And so now that box is checked, we don't have to worry about that, and we can get into a more meaningful discussion and not worry about uh, you know having to try to navigate around a
Yeah.
product not being FedRAMP. So we've yeah, it's a pretty significant milestone for Salesforce in the last few weeks, and excited that they've achieved that, and it's just going to open up a ton of opportunity within the Fed space. So
That's exciting.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, hey, maybe that's a great way to wrap on this episode here, Scott. Thanks for, doing this, and we'll catch you on the next.
came out. Thanks, man.
All right. Talk soon.
This has been another episode of Belmar Bites, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or on our website at belmarcloud.com.